Good evening, everyone. My name is Rohit Chaudhary, and I will be your host for this event. Welcome to Internshala Trainings World Education Day Fair of 2023. We are glad to have you on board for India's largest online learning event on International Day of Education. So, how I met your career as this whole series is it's a form of sessions where we will hear from industry experts about their professional journey and the insights that they have gained along the way. Our speakers have a wealth of experience in their respective fields, and we are excited to learn from their success and challenges as they share their stories with us. This is a unique opportunity for young students like yourself to gain valuable perspectives and insights from professionals who have in these industry for years. So we hope that you will be inspired to pursue your own passions and dreams by listening to these experts. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn from some of the best in this business. So in the session of today, we all would love to welcome Atma Godara, a passionate coach. Atma has worked across a myriad of sectors and scaled up startups to 10x in terms of people capability, talent pipeline, and succession planning. Atma has been recognized as an SHRN influencer over the years, dynamic top 20 HR leader, that too by Economic Times in the year 2021 and 2022, and as 40 under 40 HR leaders. He volunteers with NITI Aayog in Mentor India initiative as an expert in business, partnering digital transformation, leadership hiring, and talent management. Atma has been responsible for major change initiatives in his stints with various organizations. His focus is on aligning people strategy, business strategy, and organization culture, values, and purpose. He is an alumnus of PEC Chandigarh and TISS Mumbai. So, hi Atma. First of all, thank you so much for taking out the time to join us. How is it going?
First of all, thank you very much, Rohit, for the warm welcome. And as you can see, I'm right now in a car, and I think this is a very apt position I'm in right now to have this conversation about changing career and know how it has been evolving, especially the post-pandemic. So, first of all, thank you
Yeah.
very much for having me here. I'm very, very happy and glad to be with the young guns of the country to have this conversation today.
So we basically had a contest on our social media, and the winners of that contest are also here today to interview Atma with me. So let's all welcome Nishad and Miloni.
Hello.
Hi,
So how are you guys doing?
we're great.
I'm
Thank
doing
you for
good, Rohit.
asking.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Perfect. So without further ado, get straight away to basically having a conversation with Atma and knowing him better. So I would like to ask the first question. That is, uh, I would like to ask Atma on how did you got to start? Like, how did you get the start in your career?
Absolutely, Rohit. And if I if there's some interruption in my voice somewhere, please interrupt me. I will repeat those lines. I want to be mindful of the network, though it is full net. I have the new 5G connection in the what we have all have across the country. Okay, let me start from the
Yes.
very beginning. Like any other Indian boy or girl, I had opted for the PCM, what we used to call those days, physics, chemistry, mathematics, and I wanted to join the defense forces. I tried and failed thrice. Then the next best option comes for you to go for the JE exams, write those joint entrance examinations to go for the engineering degree. I tried, I failed. Uh, then I landed in PEC Chandigarh, what you just mentioned, to do my engineering. But when you do engineering or go to the medical colleges, especially people in our generation, I'm talking about say 13 to 15 years back, We go to these colleges because there is this undue pressures we have from our family, especially in the tier two cities and tier three cities, that you don't go for humanities. That is something which people look down on. If you score good marks and you go for the humanities, then of course you choose something even if you don't have your calling there. So I did my engineering. I joined Samsung for a brief period of time. Then I was working with a PSU, which was BHEL, and that's where it happened. When I was working there, I thought, okay, this is not working out. What should I do next? That's where I had the luxury of time, luxury to think, and no pressure from family or the society to what should be the next. And at that point of time, I was working very closely with the personal department, what they call the HR department in the PSUs. And I got an exposure working with these people, and I could identify myself a lot working that space, because I was working in the space of change management and learning and development. We were training all the employees on the upcoming technology which was to be implemented in BHL, which was the enterprise resource planning. And my task was to educate and train the folks in that front. So I started having liking for that space, and I could see that I was making more impact in that space than writing the codes what I was writing at that point of time at BHL. And while I was doing my research that how do I get into that space, I came across TISS. I loved the idea of the institution, how it was built, what was value system it had, and kind of history it has since 1934. And I landed there. And post that, rest is the history. I joined Reliance Industries first. I was working in the oil and gas. I was there for 2.5 years, had exposure across the factory. I was very clear that I want to work in a factory for a while, because that's where your personal department, your IR, your ER, your fundamentals of the HR starts. From there, I wanted to move to a startup, which I did. I moved to a Series A startup. Then I moved to another startup, from B2B to B2C. And finally, I landed in this entertainment business. So, yeah, the journey has been pretty much organic after that, but I was conscious I want to work in, and what kind of subjects I want to learn in terms of the technicalities. And I didn't want to be in a single industry for very long. I didn't want to be on a single subject. There is subject, you have like talent acquisition, talent management, compensation, analytics, HR technologies. I have to work across the gambit, and I have been very, very fortunate. I have met across, like, on this path, I have met so many mentors, so many leaders who have supported what I wanted to do, and yeah, I'm here today.
That is a very, very, very. First of all, it's very relatable. It's a very relatable story because obviously even I had PCM. So I would request Miloni if you could ask your question.
Thank you so much, Rohit. Firstly, Atma sir, I think this question is very important for most of us because all of us are feeling perplexed and we all feel we're the only ones feeling very down and low. So, if you could help us with your biggest challenge that you have faced and how did you overcome it? So, most of us can also learn from your successful journey and not feel alone at all.
See, feeling low or high, feeling happy and sad are very natural emotions, and we all go through it, right? Like, when you are talking to me on this platform today, uh, or you might be pursuing, oh, this person we are talking to, he is not feeling low, or this person is doing so well, but it is the outer picture what which is visible or available to the entire world, right? We all have that. And it's absolutely fine if you feel low at times, because we are humans, we are not machines. And of course, machines will have emotions very soon. That's a different discussion. But it's absolutely fine when we feel through this. I think, and when you talk about the challenges, there have been so many challenges on this road. One challenge which if I talk about from the very beginning, is that when I was quitting the public sector and I was going for my masters. Quitting a government job in India is a sin, right? You can't quit, and like you can't do that. So that was one of the biggest challenge. How do I convince my stakeholders? And when I talk about the stakeholders, family, and then of course the relatives, who still can't comprehend that, why did I do that? And if we talk about challenges more on the professional front post my masters, I would say, like, when I get into a new industry, industry, and then the first few months you want to learn. So I think that is one of the challenge, that there have been people who have been veterans for the very long, and you don't only want to learn, but you want to make an impact also. So after spending the 6 months or 7 months in an industry, start adding value. That's where the challenge comes in, because you're working with the veterans, people who have been there for 15 years, 20 years. And how do you convince them that, hey, I'm bringing an outside in perspective. So while I acknowledge you that you are the masters of this industry, but what I have learned across different industries, and how can we add that value here and take it forward from there. And when I said the challenge, and if I like assuming that we have so many students on this call today, and this challenge is very relatable. Say when you move from semester one to semester two, you will have new teachers, you will have new subjects, right? The challenge will always keep coming. So never ever think that there won't be what do you call, there won't be challenges anymore. And then when we remember, when we were young, we used to say that study for board, life will be sorted. Yeah, go for the college, then life will be sorted. Go get the job, will life be sorted? So that never happens. So try to be okay with what one of my managers used to tell me, and I love this, that and especially it is very relatable to the startup and today's ecosystem. Is like, it is not okay, like it's good if you are comfortable with ambiguity around you, but you will be really successful if you are comfortable with the ambiguity within yourself. And to address that, okay, there's an ambiguity, I'm okay with it, I will deal with it in time, and I know how to deal with it.
So those are really great points, Atma. I would request Nishad to ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, Rohit. First of all, thank you, Atma sir, for gracing us with your presence here. Yeah, I would like to ask you, can you share with us a wonderful memory or an experience or a project that you might have worked upon, and that you're really, super proud of, and it like it stands out from the lot, from all other projects you've worked on, or perhaps all other memories you have.
Yeah, I mean, quite a few, but from the top of my mind, I could think of a story. I remember, I was working with a startup, and we were Series A funded, and we were getting into a completely new direction. I mean, the business strategy was changing, and we were pivoting to something very new. And then we were like, of course, when you work in a startup which is Series A funded, pretty much your average age is like 25. The founders are young, everybody is so young, and we needed someone who's like expertise in that field and can come on board, and sort of what you call, can help us in navigating in that direction. We needed that experience. And that's when I met one of the person on LinkedIn, and this person had like 20 years of experience, legend in his field, and has been there, done that. And now my job was to convince this person to join us. It took a while. I mean, I used different things. I had used different strategies, which I will talk to you about. I think one thing which I have leveraged a lot on is like, when you reach out to someone, when you try to talk to someone, when you want to get something done, try to find the common connections. So fortunately, this person was from the same college. Like he is also from PG Chandigarh. So that was one connection where I started this conversation. And then this person, I ensure that he comes and meet everyone, all of my CXOs. And the entire story, we don't try to hire the person. We don't try to sell any dream to him, but we always try to tell what are we trying to achieve. And when we had all the conversations, after that, I spoke to him like, hey, what do you think? Could you like come out and guide us through it? And to my surprise, the person has accepted the offer, has and had come on board. So that was, I think, one of the most winning moment what I felt at that point of time. And I've realized, and this person told me, like, I have worked in my life for 20, 25 years, and I haven't come across any HR person so far in my life, someone like you. I mean, that was a compliment for me. And but this was a like, so I think to long story short, the intent is when you interact with someone, how could you connect at a personal level, and how can you be more business centric as well as respectable, or say empathize with the people also.
Yeah, so those were like really great points. I think I might as well like take. I also have a lot of takeaways from whatever you shared your experience and everything. So I basically have a question. So I believe that this industry it's ever changing. So how do you adapt to those changes and the shifts in this industry over the years?
Okay, I think this is a very very simple question, and like simple in terms of like even if you are working in an industry, for example, if I'm working right now in the entertainment industry, and I was working in the high tech at one point of time, I was working in the hospitality industry at another point of time. So first and foremost, you have your sources to stay abreast. So for example, I'm out of hospitality, but there are few people I follow them on Twitter. There are few print houses and media houses which I follow to stay updated on that. And I follow some of the organization which I watch out for, and I see their earning reports, their earning calls, and how they are progressing. So I think for the folks on the group, I think the first and the foremost, simplest first is be on, let's say, Twitter, for example, or LinkedIn. Be present and be active and follow the right people who talk about their industries. Every industry would have many stalwarts who would be talking about all the cutting edge technologies, what is happening, what is new, and this is going to like so for example, if I talk about, say, hospitality, so I follow all the entrepreneurs who are in that space. I have some of the what do you call journals which are behind the paywall. I read those on a regular basis. So I think reading, like, first one would be reading the relevant stuff, second following the right people, and third is refreshing your knowledge every year. I think these are the three elements which could really help in staying the top of game in terms of the knowledge about any industry.
Yeah, those are really great points. So Milan, would you like to take up the next question?
Surely. Firstly, Atma sir, this one is close to home, but I think in today's era, staying focused is really a big challenge. So, could you help us understand how do you stay so motivated and focused at your work?
You have rightly said it, because okay, and it is happening across the society, right? We had test matches, we came down to one days, now we are at T20, right? We had long, like we used to watch those films for like 3 hours and 4 hours. I remember when I was in school, we had this LOC by JP Datta. It was like, I think, 4.5 hours long film, and we went and watched that, right? From there, we came down to YouTube sometime in 2005, I think. From there, now we are at TikTok, which is not, we like the reels, right? Let's talk about the Indian context. We have the reels, and the thing is, like, the attention span was always low for us. I mean, typically they say your attention span is less than 20 seconds. If I want to convey my point, I have to say in that much of time, but otherwise the people will lose interest. It was always very short, and now it has gone for a toss. So let's talk about two things very differently. First is motivation, and second is focus. So motivation is like, it's a very personal answer. What I'm sharing here is like, when are you working in any space? And for me, like, when I'm working, if I'm not able to add some value, and if I'm not able to create any impact, of course, which follows by my self learning, then I feel stuck. I feel demotivated. Then I take a step back, and I think, what if I'm not in this situation? What if I'm not part of this process which is happening right now? Will it go as smooth as it has been going so far, even without my presence? If the answer is yes, that's when I get into thinking mode that, no, this can't be happening. How can I create an impact, or how can I add a value? And third piece was, of course, how do I get into the learning space? That's how I keep my motivation in check. Focus is super challenging. Different people have different methods to use, and I always I envy people who are very focused. So my wife, for example, she's super focused, and she have to finish the works, and like she works in a research policy research field. If she has to write something, she'll sit for like 4 hours, 5 hours straight without a single ounce of disturbance. And this is what you have naturally. I also have very short focus. What I've started doing very recently for the past few months, I follow this very common thing, Pomodoro principle. So I put my phone on a 25 minutes of stopwatch. So I have that focused amount of work for 25 minutes or say 40 minutes. And till then, I don't do anything else. I don't check my emails. I don't check the Slack or the Gmail messages. I don't check anything else. I don't check my phone, Twitter, LinkedIn, anything. And once I am done with that 40 minutes of cycle, I take a break of 10 minutes. I reward myself with whatever I want. I want to tweet, I go to Twitter. I want to see tweets. I want to see LinkedIn. I want to go to Instagram, which I sometimes delete and then I reinstall, then delete and install. I'm in that phase of Instagram. We all are, I'm sure. So then I, again break it. I don't work for the sake of don't work for the entire day. That you can't be working, you can't be productive, and the focus won't be there because it will be everywhere. So take out those chunks. It might be 15 minutes for you to start with. It might be half an hour for you. It is 5 hours for my wife. So it really depends how big a chunk you can take. Work in that period, then take off. Reward yourself. Say working 40 minutes a day, and you can work say 40 minutes only in one slot, or say 30 minutes, for example. Take 4 slots or take 5 slots in the day. Then take break and then don't work otherwise. That will really help in improving the focus.
Your points about the reels is like super relatable, because as a content creator, I struggle a lot to get the attention. But yeah, again, yeah, it's super relatable. So, Nishad, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Rohit. Atma sir, my question is a two-parter, and I'm sure you must get bombarded with these questions a lot. One, what would be the advice, or let's say wisdom, you would give out to the young professionals who are just starting out their careers, and they are in their incipient stages, they're just starting out. And number two, what would be the skills they would need to develop, on par, in order to have the success they want to have.
Sure. See, the young guns, I think they don't need any wisdom because they are very, very wise. They are sharp. They are smarter. One advice I can give for sure that, and when I look back to like 10 years back when I started, and then advice is like whenever you're starting in your career, just focus on 3 or 4 basic things, and rest everything will fall in place. No matter whether you are an engineer, you are into general management, or you are a CA professional, or you are working in the Indian Army, like wherever you're working, just keep a focus on 3 4 things. First, be agile. And I say be agile. Take whatever comes your way. Don't say no to work. Be respectful of the work. So be agile. Don't be rigid. So first and foremost, be super agile, because rigidity will automatically come in. You know, when I say agile, when you are in college, and I tell you how it comes automatically. When you are in school, you can become anything. You're super agile in life. I'm talking about in general. When you go to college, say you're doing an engineer, you can't become a doctor anymore. When you do an MBA, you can't be a lawyer anymore. You can't be a chartered accountant anymore. Once you get into, say, a stream of marketing, you can't be a finance person anymore. So, automatic, the rigidity will keep kicking in your life. That's a natural progression for every human being. Don't put in artificial rigidity. When I say artificial rigidity, you're working on project A, you are getting project B your way. Of course, you have to be very, very mindful about your mental health, or how much time you have, all those things in place, but be respectful of that. So agile, number one. Number B, be grateful. whatever you have. I'm not saying don't be ambitious, but be grateful what is already your way, because what is happening in the current rat race, and to achieve so much in such a short span of time, we always tend to forget that what do we already have. you know be grateful about it, thank whosoever you want to thank for it, but be grateful. Third thing is very very important, and I think should have been the first thing for me, is like be curious. I remember uh, last year in the month of December, my grandmother was 90 years old. She came to Bombay for the first time. She flew for the first time to meet me, and she was so curious. I mean, about everything. And I was wishing that I wish I had this much of curiosity when I'm 90 years old, because as again we grow up, the curiosity keeps on dying naturally, and also the way we tell our the kids around that don't ask too many questions. So be super super curious. I think that's everything will fall in place.
Yeah, that those are like really really wonderful points, because me myself, when I started out, I was a designer. Now I basically work with videos. So yeah, I did like a lot of experimentation. So I would like to ask you one last question from my end. Is there anything that you wish you had known earlier in your career that now that you know now as an experienced professional?
Uh, I mean, nothing which comes to my mind. I think like if I get into a mode of self criticism, like a lot will come for sure. But I think I'm very grateful that the career has been shaped in a very very nice way. As I told you, like when I started somewhere which wasn't my calling. I still think defense forces are my calling, and what I was trying to be the fighter that I think that is still my calling. So everything fell in place, and it happened very organically. So when you think about getting into a government job, coming out, getting into skills which is like human resources, not some marketing, not finance, not going naturally, which is like for your master's in engineering, going for the MS degree somewhere else. So I think everything fell in place so naturally, um, and I don't think anything which would have been different in this sense.
That's all from our side. I would first of all like to thank Atma for taking out your time, and as well as I would like to thank Nishat and Miloni as well. Thank you for your wonderful questions. I hope you are as inspired as me after this. So that's all for now. And thank you everyone for joining today's session. And yeah, again, like special thanks to Atma for taking out your precious time. I'm pretty sure like you're a very, very busy individual. For everyone who's asking about the participation certificates, yes, we are giving participation certificates to all the registered attendees. You can also explore our online resource management. Sorry. You can also explore our online human resource management training. The link for the same is in the description. Our next session has already commenced. It is where Mr. Nikhil Vahi from Flipkart will share his journey with us. Please go ahead and join that stream. Thank you everyone again, and yeah.